Hi, I'm Tim. Join me in this video as I give a short and to-the-point update on the upcoming test for recreational RC and drone pilots that will be given by the FAA. Let's get to it. As part of the 2018 FAA Reauthorization Act, the law passed by Congress that funds the FAA and gives very clear direction on what Congress wants the FAA to do in terms of safety training. Included in that act was the requirement that the FAA come up with, administer a test for recreational radio control and drone RC pilots. This is a first for the recreational flyers. The FAA divides pilots into two groups, and this is for full-scale pilots as well as for our radio control pilots. Those that do it professionally and those that do it recreationally. There's a much different approach on the FAA in terms of oversight, testing, requirements. The FAA has done this with the pilots that are paid for their work with a Part 107 that came out a year or two ago. There is a certificate for that. But what has not been done or completed yet by the FAA is the idea and the process for giving a test to recreational model airplane pilots that just fly on the weekends. There's no compensation. They're not helping anybody out. It's just for the enjoyment of the hobby. So as part of a lot of other things that were contained in the Act, and again, this video is being filmed in May of 2021, there was remote ID, there was registration, there was just a lot of things that had to be covered. And the recreational pilot test was a little bit at the end of the list, but it's becoming much clearer how that is going to be done. Right now, the FAA is writing the test for the recreational RC pilot. It's going to be aimed primarily at drone pilots, I believe. Nobody's seen the test yet for beyond visual line of sight operations. But what is happening is the FAA writes tests all the time for a wide range of people, from pilots to air traffic controllers to flight attendants to mechanics. This is just another thing the FAA has done. Fortunately, the FAA has been listening very closely to what they call stakeholders. These are people that are involved in model aviation. It could be manufacturers. The key one for us, I believe, is the Academy of Model Aeronautics, providing input for what should be on this test. Because this is a very new thing for recreational modelers, we've never been subjected to this type of testing before. The test, by all accounts, is going to be something along the line of about 25 questions, and it's going to be correctable to 100%. So it's not really a test as you think about it to study some material to see if you've retained the material. It'll be kind of a combination instructional session with questions that are eventually answered correctly. So I think what will happen is it'll be multiple choice for sure. If you get an answer wrong, it'll say that's wrong because until you get to the correct answer. And it will be things that we probably should know already. And if not, I think it'll be a useful training exercise for things. For example, how do you know when you're flying in controlled airspace? That is a valid question that modelers should be able to answer. They will give a process to that'll be an app on a smartphone. What is the maximum height for radio control model operations? Normally it's 400 feet. It'll be questions along those lines. So while the FAA is putting together this test, and the name of the test is the Recreational UAS Safety Test. So that stands for Trust, T-R-U-S-T, the Recreational UAS Safety Test. That's going to be the name of the test. You'll see Trust a lot in there. And so as the FAA is preparing this test, the other part of that that's contained in the Act is the FAA has to come out with authorized administrators, people who are allowed to give the test to people that have to take it. That could be a school, it could be a civic organization. In our case, our absolute central contact for that will be the Academy of Model Aeronautics. And what's happening is organizations like the AMA that want to administer this trust test for the recreational pilots, there's a series of technical requirements for the FAA that they can safely give the test, make sure it's secure, things along that nature. The FAA knows how to do that. They're certifying all these organizations. My guess is the AMA will probably have their authorization to administer this recreational RC pilot test, the Trust test, by early summer, and models will probably be required to take the test probably late summer, early fall. We're just guessing this point. We don't know. So I'd like to cover a few facts or frequently asked questions on the Trust test. So I'll be glancing down at my notes from time to time. So again, Trust stands for the Recreational UAS Safety Test. If you say, well, why do I need to take this test? The answer is it is a congressional mandate. It's in the law, the Reauthorization Act of 2018. It is something that we have to do. And the reason we have to do that is the FAA controls what is called the National Airspace System. The minute you take off an inch above the ground, you're in the National Airspace System. The FAA is very focused on safety, and you just have to know the rules of where you're flying your RC model airplane, hence the need for this test. The questions come up. I have a Part 107 certificate because I make money flying my drone. Do I have to take the recreational pilot test? The answer is right now, yes, you have to do that. Now, as this process advances, there may be more focus on things that if you have your 107, there may be some carve out or a different test, or just if you've done the 107, you don't need to take the recreational pilot test. To me, that would make a lot of sense. But right now, the 107 people have to take the Trust test as well for the recreational flyers. Question comes up, what if we're under 18 years of age? Do we have to take the Trust test? And there's no exemptions for taking the test, including for minors. And the guidance from the FAA that what we understand so far is that youth can get assistance from an adult if needed. Another question is, how often do I have to take the Trust test? At this time, recreational users need to take it once in your lifetime and you're done. One time and you're done. So what will be on the test, as I mentioned, 25 multiple choice questions on basic safety guidelines, recreational flyers that we probably should know. And the test is essentially, can approach it fail-proof. Everybody who takes it is going to pass. And the idea is to gain some knowledge through doing that. Does this Trust test cost anything? The law was very clear because they want people to be trained. The test is free of charge. Nobody pays anything for it. And my guess is as it advances, it'll be on the AMA website where you'll be able to take it from there and to do that. And so another question is, well, how will I know that I've taken this test and passed it? You'll get a little completion certificate at the end. You can print that out, put it in your field box, make an electronic copy for your smartphone. That certificate is proof. If anybody were to ask at some point, demonstrate that you've taken it, you'll have that certificate. And so the final question is, when will we be required to take this test? We don't know. The FAA has not published that information. Again, this video is being filmed in May of 2021. I just checked the FAA website yesterday. There's nothing mentioned on dates because they're working on who can give the test, actually preparing the test. They want a smooth rollout for this. They just want to make sure they get it right because it'll impact a lot of people. One other point that I'd like to make, and the AMA, the Academy of Model Aeronautics, has been pretty good on mentioning this, is people are getting kind of antsy. Well, I want information. Where are we? What's going on? I'm going to call the FAA field office and ask them. There's a surprisingly small group of people that are working on this. They know each other. They've been working on this for a long period of time, several years. And because this is a complex thing tied into the law, a lot of moving parts, this small group will work together, present their outcomes to their bosses, make sure that it's briefed up. And what this means is, until it is published in a formal documentation from the FAA, other sections of the FAA just don't know about this or where the status is. I think from what I've read, everything's headed in the right direction. This is a must-do because of the guidance in the law. I think it'll be beneficial to recreational flyers. You can't fail the test, but if you start calling around and trying to find out the status of it, nobody really knows except that small group, and they're not going to be talking too much until they're absolutely sure that everything is correct. They can brief it up and this program can be implemented. But the light is at the end of the tunnel. It's moving along. Remember, there's a lot of other things going on with the FAA right now with models. Remote ID is probably the biggest item, and that will not be completed until September of 2023. So the recreational test is inbound. There is a process. The FAA is writing the tests. We'll be able to take it with the AMA. It should be fairly painless. It's just something that we have to do in the year 2021 to fly our radio control model aircraft and drones. So thank you very much for listening. Good luck, and we will see you at the RC field.
The launching.